This looks nice, huh?
Mm-hmm. Is that the new one?
Yeah.
You're
It's kind
very
of
cute.
big. It's an XL, but it shrinks.
You want to make out? It doesn't shrink if you follow the care instructions.
What is that? I just throw everything in one load. One load.
Welcome to the No Dick Pics podcast. I'm Christina,
Max.
and our guest today is a comedian who has performed all over America. He has multiple albums that have debuted at #1 on the iTunes comedy charts. He's the host of the Joe Kilgallon podcast. Welcome to the show, Joe Kilgallon.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hi.
Welcome.
I'm excited to be here. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Do you want to tell us? I mean, I kind of did a little thing on you. So I said I have 3 albums written down, but I was listening to your podcast today and you said like 5.
Yeah, so 4, I did 3, like, you do video and audio. I released 3 of them like on iTunes and Spotify, like in audio album form. My 4th one I released to this new platform called punchup.live. And then after I was on that for a while, I went right to YouTube with it. I just kind of aimed all the traffic at YouTube because I'm monetized there. So it just made more sense. It's kind of a better payoff than, like, Spotify pays terribly. Like, I know a lot of people who are trying to go away from Spotify because, well, the CEO is not a good person and they just, they don't respect artists, and the artists make that platform, and they're notorious for paying the worst out of all of the streaming services in regards to music and comedy, in my sake. So I'm like, I'm going to get off of them. And then I have a 5th one that I just dropped on my Patreon that I'll probably eventually roll out to YouTube.
Okay. Do you know when that's coming out, or?
I don't have a date per se. I'll be honest with you guys. I had a plan at the beginning of the year, and then I kept pushing it back because like the day I was like, all right, I'll make a big announcement telling people, hey, you're going to find it next week or a couple days. I'm not a big fan of doing the whole 3 months from now because, people are going to forget about it at that point. And then if I'm promoting it every 2 days, I don't know, I feel dirty promoting myself all the time. So I thought I would just do like, what rappers do, where you just go, hey, I just dropped it. It's here. Go check it out.
Right.
But then something horrible in the world would happen. So I'm like, this is not the day to be like, hey, go listen to me, go watch me, when, there's a bunch of bad things happening. So hopefully there's a lull in all that. We'll see. And then I'll release it to the wild.
Cool. Well, keep us updated and we'll let people know, because
thank you.
We saw you in December and had a great time at your show. It was very funny. Max was funny. Like fangirling over your opener, Erica Nicole Clark.
She's amazing. I love Erica.
When she started talking about her dad, he was like, what?
That's when she first started doing stand-up comedy. I remember because I started maybe a year or so before her. We'd be on shows together, and then I heard from other comics like, do you know her dad's Mr. T? And I was like, get out of here. I'd never heard her talk about that. And then I asked her about it, and she's like, I don't want to talk about it on stage. She wanted to like set herself apart. As comedians, we're often, not every comedian, but a lot of comedians were biographical. We talk about our lives. So she just came across this one really good story that I won't give away, but let's just put it this way. When she got her period for the first time, her mom wasn't home. So her father, Mr. T, had to help her. So just imagine the Mr. T voice that to you is just your dad, but it still sounds funny to her, trying to help you in that situation. So once I think she started talking about that, it just kind of opened up the floodgates. I mean, it's a small part of her act. Don't get me wrong, because she's still a killer without talking about it ever. But it does add an element of like, why wouldn't you talk about your dad? Like I talked about my dad. He worked for the Chicago Park District. He wasn't, in the A team, you know what I mean? On the A team.
Right. Yeah.
He didn't fight Rocky, right? He would have kicked his ass though. Let's be real. My dad would have messed up Sylvester Stallone. My dad's, well, he's dead, but so now Sylvester Stallone would win because my dad's dead. But when my dad was alive, he's got reach. Sylvester Stallone's like 5'6". I don't know if you guys know that.
Well, that's the thing. Drago was 6 feet. It's just Rocky was so small that people just assume Drago was like 6'4", 6'5". And then you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, if you guys ever watch Rocky 3, there's that scene where Hulk Hogan and Sylvester Stallone are face to face. They do this little wrestler versus boxer gag. And Hogan's tall, don't get me wrong. He's like 6'5", 6'6", but he is like a foot taller than Sylvester Stallone. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not a tall guy.
That's wild. I would have just assumed he was, but I think you just assume
he's jacked.
Action hero. Yeah. That's a fun fact. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a stand-up comedian. I was born and raised in the city. I've worked in television a little bit. I lived in LA for a few years there. I am a father of 3. I am single. And what else about me that's interesting? I'm a pretty good dancer.
Oh.
I drive a 2008 minivan that I will drive until the wheels come off. I love that car. And I once hit 3 home runs in a Little League game. Very proud of that achievement.
I was going to ask you because you said Little League legend or something in one of your things. I was like, I got to ask.
I am. I really am. I peaked at 12. My sports career went downhill after that. I thought, I don't need to practice. You saw what I did out there. And everyone else hit puberty and they caught up. So, yeah, that's the bummer of life. So, yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I love doing stand-up comedy. It's a big part of my life. I talk about my life on stage. And, yeah, just a regular Irish Catholic boy from the northwest side of Chicago.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm not from the city. I'm from the suburbs, but I was born in Oak Park. So
very close.
But I grew up in like Aurora, Naperville. So
Waynesboro
not
country.
really the city at all. Yeah, exactly. And then Max grew up. Well, your family's from here, right, Max?
Yeah.
And then you moved
Dad
to Michigan.
Dad was a South Sider. Mom was a North Sider. He worked for Ford, so I was born in Detroit, and then I moved out here at about 13. So right in the middle of the Bad Boys Bulls rivalry. So you can only imagine showing up to school with that. So it was fun. But
did we convert you, or did you stay loyal to the Pistons?
No, so I love the Pistons, but like I was never against Michael. And then after he left, and then when he came back, I just became. I mean, I knew he was great. It was that rivalry, but I kind of missed him. And when he came back, I mean, the greatest that's ever been done. So
that is true.
So are you a Bulls fan?
I am.
I root for him, but yeah, I mean, like the second three-peat, I was rooting for him because I couldn't stand Utah. But yeah, it took some time, but I mean. You know,
Chicago's like number 2 to him. Like he's a Detroit fan above everything else.
It helped when a lot of the Pistons were coming over.
Oh yeah, Rodman and then John Sally. Yeah, I mean, you should be a Pistons fan. You should be a Lions fan, Tigers. I'm a big believer in having loyalty to where you're from. First 13 years of your life were in the Detroit area.
So it's all Detroit, but the Cubs were. So both my parents being from Chicago, like the Cubs were like. I remember watching the Cubs as an early age because of WGN, so it was always Cubs and Tigers. So like when I was a kid, 1984 was supposed to be the year, and obviously it didn't go that way. But yeah, so that's the only one that I'm split with Cubs and Tigers. But everyone else, it's like Detroit. But I've always liked the Bears. I always liked sweetness, and I just feel like when the Bears win, everyone's just happier.
True. And traffic is a little bit better the next day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, even my daughter wanted to watch the Bears game. I'm like, who are you? 13-year-old. I didn't think she wanted anything to do with sports. She's like, Dad, are you going to watch the Bears game? I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was joking about how when my sons asked, can we watch the Bears game together this year? I was like, yeah, we can. I got a little emotional, right?
I know.
Yeah, she's not a big sports girl, and she became a pretty big Bears fan because I think everyone was talking about it. So she was like, I love football. And he's like, what? Yes.
The last couple of years was like, can we watch Travis Kelce? Because of the whole Taylor Swift stuff. I was like, you know what? I'll take it while I can get it, sure.
She stayed for like 5 minutes, and then she's like, never mind, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Well, this was an exciting Bears team, so everyone was jumping on the bandwagon, and you couldn't really blame them. I wish everyone was loyal from the start, but when you hear about a team that had 7 come from behind wins, you want to check it out.
Right.
More the merrier.
How did you get started in comedy?
Well, I was always thought of as like the funny guy in my social groups, like growing up. I think I won class clown in 8th grade. High school, I didn't. I took 2nd. I know that because I'm good friends. I'm still friends with the dude who won. Shout out to Sean O'Malley. But yeah, I don't know. I was always kind of a funny guy, but it was in college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was never much of a student, and I was really into comedy movies and comedy shows. And I always thought to myself, like, who are the writers of these shows? And then I realized a lot of people who wrote for shows and wrote screenplays for comedy movies started in stand-up. And then I saw that a lot of them started in sketch writing. So I started taking classes at Second City. I dropped out of college and went to Second City for improv classes and sketch writing classes. And then while I was there, I met a friend who started talking about stand-up, and I liked, I thought I was a stand-up fan. And then I started going to stand-up comedy open mics, and I met other, at the time, open micers. That's how you start off as an open micer. And they blew me away. I thought, oh, I'm not a fan. You guys are fans. Like, I thought I was a fan, but they knew everything. It almost made me feel like how I was with baseball to people. Like, I'd meet someone and they'd say they're a baseball fan. They just meant like they kind of like watching it on TV. I meant I've read every book. I study the stats. I'm like obsessed. I memorize back baseball cards, everything, like literally obsessed. And that's how these dudes were with stand up, where I just was like, oh, he's funny, but I can't tell you where he's from or his discography or whatever the hell it is, right? So I just started doing open mics, and then I just fell in love with stand up because to me it's freedom. You could say whatever you want on stage. I could improvise. I could do what I've written. I could talk to the crowd. Like, there's just whatever I want. And it's just you and a microphone. It's so basic, which always makes me laugh, because every now and then I'll do a theater, and the theater is so used to having like big productions and bands and plays. So they'll ask like, what do you want in the green room? What specific things do you need? What time do you need to be here for sound check? And I'm like, first of all, I don't need to do the sound check. You can, and let me know how it goes. I'll be there half an hour before the show starts. Yeah, it's bare bones. It's so simple. You just need a microphone. Just plug it in, and if it works, great. And so that's how I started. I just started going to open mics after people had been telling me I was funny. I remember being at a couple college parties and high school parties where I remember this one girl, what she said stuck out to me. She told me that, I was at a party and a friend of hers who I never met before was there. And she goes, hey, this is the guy I told you about who tells the great stories. And so in my head, I clocked. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, yeah. Friends of mine are telling other friends I don't know that I'm funny and I'm a good storyteller. So I'm like, oh, cool. So it was just a seed in the back of my head. And then I got hooked. It was, it's like that needle got in my arm, and I was done. I was in love with stand up after that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where I'm like, oh, I should have taken the fireman's test. This job sucks. But that's usually just because of exterior noise, but the act of getting on stage is my favorite thing.
So what is Sean O'Malley doing now? Is he a stand up, or is he like an accountant or something?
What does he do? He's a union guy. His brother, though, is a big deal. His younger brother is Connor O'Malley, who does a lot of Tim Robinson sketches. He's on one of the, I don't know if you guys know who Tim Robinson is. He's got that Netflix show, and he was in that movie that Tim Robinson did with Paul Rudd. He had like a pretty funny scene with him in the garage. And he wrote for Seth Meyers. And he's married to Adie Bryant from SNL. Like his younger brother did all the comedy stuff. But Sean, to me,
he did a show called Detroiters, I remember.
Yeah, Connor remembers a few episodes of that. Yeah. So his younger brother went in the comedy direction, but the whole family was funny. I didn't know the oldest brother that well. I've met him a few times. But yeah, Sean was great. My friends wrote for the yearbook, so they knew all the votes, because you'd submit your votes for.
So that's how you knew.
That's how I knew I was second. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's okay. I've gotten over it. Taking me a while.
Yeah. Have you?
I don't know.
When you first started off, was there someone that you saw or something that kind of like, that's who I want to kind of be like? Or,
that's a good question. I think I was I was trying to be me, of course, but you try to, but everyone, when they start, without realizing it, or some people do realize it, you emulate who you like or who's prevalent, I guess. I'd figured it out after watching some early film with me that I was doing a combination. This is a weird combo of Dane Cook and Jerry Seinfeld.
That is a weird combo.
Very weird combo, because I kind of started when Dane Cook was like already big. Like, it wasn't like he was just getting big. He was already kind of known. And it was before he was hated, though. He got hated shortly after that. And Seinfeld was such a big fan of the show. So I was kind of like a high energy, but I was doing jokes. I was doing very nostalgic jokes. I remember I had this god awful joke about the game Simon Says, where I was like, who is this Simon? And why is he such a demanding prick? Like, that was like the joke, the start of it, at least. I can't remember what else I did, but that's very Seinfeld cadence. When I pointed it out to some of my friends that I came up with, I was like, you guys realize I think I was doing Seinfeld meets Dane Cook? And they all kind of were like, oh my God, you were. Like, it took them a second to process. And then they were like, dude, that is what you were doing. And I was like, I know, right? But then I got really into Louis C.K. and Bill Burr, and Bill Burr I had to stop listening to, because his background, the way he talked about his family, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like we just had too many similarities. angry redheads, you know? So I was like, I got to stop listening to them because I didn't want to accidentally to start, because sometimes you sound like the person you listen to a lot, you know, just subliminally. Yeah. Like bands have that problem all the time. They go, yeah, that was an influence. We didn't want to rip them off, but we just heard it so much. That's how we started to write songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So I was listening to your show. I like kind of binged it a little bit today. So I listened to the last couple episodes that you did.
I got angry in the last one, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, you were fired up, but I love that passion because I feel the same way. But you had mentioned a dating app idea where people with the same level of like, I don't know, not skill, but like drive would be matched together. So if a guy can only last for like 15 seconds, but he's with a girl who's also like done in 15 seconds, then they're a great match.
That really should be one of the matchups. I think I was onto something with that. Mm-hmm. You guys, I've sworn a couple times already, so you guys don't care if people swear on this, I imagine?
No, we don't care. Yeah. Say what you're going to say.
It's called the No Dick Pics podcast, I got to imagine.
Yeah.
But so, you know, the ad that inspired that, I saw an ad where it's like, do you suffer from premature ejaculation? And then it made me think, I'm like, you only suffer if the person you're with gives a shit. You know, if the person you're with is like, hell yeah, it's over, I'm done, that you're not suffering then. All right. You wouldn't feel bad if you were with someone who also, like, is there a female version of that? There really isn't that I've heard of, but I do know I've heard from a few female friends, and you know, there are some women who get off pretty quickly. They should be matched up with the dudes who get off pretty quickly. And think about how much those two will get done. They'll be a power couple, right?
Yeah.
They'll be getting their pleasure in. Right? They get their pleasure in, and then they can go binge watch shows. They could read books. They could start small businesses. They have so much more time.
Do their taxes.
Knowing guys' egos, even the guys that go in 15 seconds are going to say, oh no, I last 10 minutes.
You're right. So you're right. And that's something we got to drop as men. That's why we die of heart attacks way too young, guys. Like, be honest with yourself and be honest with others, because maybe there's someone out there who's looking for exactly what you bring to the table. I think there's something there to that, you know. I don't know what you'd call that app, quick shooters or something. I'm not sure, but but I really do think that would be a really good matchup, though. I really believe that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'll have to patent it.
I know. I'm gonna have to copyright it right here. This is my proof. Somebody could steal the idea.
Yeah, this is we'll document it right here. You had also mentioned the idea where like a lot of men outkick their coverage, or with someone who's like a 9 and they're like a 6, and it's a normal thing to see. You see guys who do that all the time, but you don't really see it in reverse. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, I think you're right. Max said he sees it all the time, but I'm like, well, where?
I would see it at like the mall and stuff.
Where like maybe the girl's like a 2 and the guy's like a 6.
Right, usually not a ton, but I've seen it. But I agree, though, it's always the other way around, because they always say you outkicked your coverage.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it happens in certain circumstances where maybe the finances don't line up, right? I mean, but rarely though, because usually you'll see the ugly rich guy with a really attractive woman, but a rich woman isn't going to hook up with some ugly guy unless she's really ugly. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, Max. I'm not doubting you. I just haven't seen it.
I'm not seeing a ton, but it
could be like a sugar mama situation.
Could be.
Yeah.
But yeah, not too often. You really don't see unattractive women with really hot guys. But we've all seen the reverse.
Yeah, you said that. I'm like, that's true. Like, I can't think of one. I can't think of a couple that fits that description.
Yeah.
So
it's got to be something to it.
There has to be. There's a science there.
It means women are better. That's what it means, I think, because they're not as judgy. Although I think we've all discovered more stuff about women recently with that Heated Rivalry show. I was talking to our good friend Bridget about that, because it's like, I'm now discovering, in case your listeners don't know about Heated Rivalry, it's this Canadian hockey show about these rival hockey players that become secret gay lovers, which is great, good on them. But what I've discovered about it was that all of my female friends apparently like gay porn, because that's essentially what it is. And that's their favorite part of the show, just the male butts and the guys with glistening chests and 6-packs and hugging and kissing on each other. They're so into that, which I'm so happy to have found that out. I was bringing that up to some of my female friends, and they thought I was bringing it up to be like a jerk. I'm like, no, this is great. I love that. I love this for you. And I love that you're being honest about it. And I think this could start a really good dialogue with a lot of things. You know, you used to knock your male friends for being into lesbian porn. You can't knock them anymore for that, can you? Right? Like it felt like we were making some progress as a society.
Yeah, I was going to watch it because like Bridget has told me about it. And I'm like, okay, I'll just binge it at work. She's like, no, don't do it at work. Like, okay.
No, you can't watch it at work.
She's like, I had to close my curtains because like, I guess you can see her TV from the street. I never really thought about that, but you can see it from the street. And she's like, oh my God, my neighbors are going to walk by. I got to close the curtains. So I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't watch it at my desk.
Well, the only nudity is butts. You don't see, you know, there's not frontal. So.
Okay, so maybe I could watch it at work. If I do, I'll be like, hey, and Joe said I could.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, totally.
Well, if you get fired, it's not my fault. Everyone's been talking about it. Everyone's been talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
sweep
it's
in the country.
It's about sports, babe. We should watch it. It's about sports.
Oh yeah, there's hockey.
Go sports.
The hockey is very much in the background. If you want to watch a good hockey show, watch Shoresy.
We started it at Bridget's request as well. Bridget's like, you need to watch Shoresy. I'm like, okay. So we got it started.
Did I watch like the first season or whatever? What it based off of? The Kenny or
the Letterkenny?
It's a spin-off of Letterkenny because Shoresy was a character on Letterkenny whose face you never saw because it's the same guy who does the lead in Letterkenny. Jared Keeso is his name. And the guy who directed Letterkenny and directed Shoresy is also the creator and director of Heated Rivalry. So they're weirdly connected in a way. But Shoresy is one of those shows I tell people, I'm like, all right, watch the first 2 episodes because they're a little bit of a setup. And then once you get in episode 3, you're going to be in love with it. And
see, that's what we got to get to.
Yeah.
We got through like episode 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're only like 25-minute episodes. He fell asleep. So, because then you'll start to learn you'll start to learn the Canadian slang because they have a lot of slang that
I love Canadians.
I do too.
My best friend's Canadian. She's my emotional support Canadian because you know we need that right now. When we go full Handmaid's Tale, I'm going to her house. So yeah, she's my escape.
There you go.
But yeah, Bridget was talking about the love story in it, and she sent me a clip from Shoresy, and she said it compared to, it's similar to like an X-Men a love story in X-Men.
I think I understand what she's saying. It is a good love story. Heated Rivalry is a good love story too. I mean, they're good love stories, yeah. But Heated Rivalry is more about the passion and the, you know, all that, which I think is more why women are into it. I don't know. Or maybe you guys all do just want to watch a couple dudes make out, which is fine. That's great. Own it.
Let's watch it for Valentine's Day, babe.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Yeah. So I hear you have a story. Well, I don't hear. I've heard the story. Your story about a dick pic. And this is what better show to come on than ours to tell your dick pic story.
Yes. So this was bizarre because when you said it at first, I was thinking, have I? No. Yeah. So I am 337 days sober now, I believe. And one of the standard opening lines I've been doing.
By the way.
Thank you. One of the standard opening lines I've been doing at a lot of shows, just a quick little thing where I say, you know, I'm 300 something days sober, you know, the crowd cheers for that. And then I go, I still do lots of cocaine though, which obviously is a joke, right? Because nobody would do one without the other. It'd be weird to be like, no, I'm good on booze, but yeah, let's do some lines. Those are, you know, those go hand in hand, those 2 drugs. And so I did that joke at a show in St. Paul, Minnesota. This was Thanksgiving weekend. And after the show, this woman comes up to me and she leads off. I'm going to get to the dick pic part, by the way, but this backstory needs to happen. She comes up to me and the first thing out of her mouth was, all right, so I have $60. And I was like, what? Like, who leads off with no hello, no, hey, great show. Just, I have $60. And I was like, okay, what? Like, and she's like, how much cocaine do you think you could get me? And I was like, it took me a second to process. I was like, oh, no. See, that's a joke. I don't actually do cocaine. Again, that would be wild to be sober, but still do. And then she looked a little disappointed, but then kind of came to grips with it. And then I said, also, I'm like, where are you getting cocaine for $60? That's a great price. I wonder if there's some Minnesota nice up here, right?
St. Paul.
Right, St. Paul. And then she kind of, you know, pitter patters away, and I'm talking to some other people from the crowd. And then I feel her lingering like a few feet from me, but, you know, she was clearly waiting for a chance to speak again, or talk to me again. And, you know, she comes up to me and she goes, by the way, you know, you and I have talked before. And I was like, oh, because then I started to feel bad. I'm like, oh, have we met? And I totally forgot that I met you. I'm really sorry. And she's like, no, we've never met in person, but we've talked. I go, what are we talking on? Like, I was so confused. And she's like, oh, we matched on a dating app. And I'm like, you got me confused for someone else. I'm not on any dating apps, never have been. And she's like, yeah, it was you. And I was like, again, I'm not on a dating app. And she just wouldn't take no. She goes, it's okay to admit it. It's okay. And I was like, listen, though, for real, I never been on one, but from what I understand about them, proximity is a big key component, because what I've known from Tinder was the first big app. And one of the things everyone told me about with that was you see, Kelly or Sarah are 4 miles away, or, Jessica's 2 miles away or whatever, and I go, why would someone who lives in Chicago, match with someone who lives in St. Paul, Minnesota? She then goes, I actually just moved here. I'm like, oh, you're from Chicago then? And she goes, no, North Dakota. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this person, right? Like, she just doesn't get it. And she seemed like normal, not like there wasn't anything about her that would have made you think, oh, this is someone who talks to herself on buses, right?
Right.
I mean, she was cute. She was like maybe 37, 38 years old.
Yeah.
By herself, though. So maybe she was on something.
It's a $60 cocaine.
Yeah. Apparently, she just couldn't get enough
North
of it.
Dakota now we know. I mean,
yeah. So then she says, I know why you don't want to admit that it was you. And then she's like, it was kind of one of the naughtier dating apps. I'm like, naughty dating? I don't know. What's the naughty dating app? I don't even know what the naughty dating app is. And she then says, it's because he sent me a dick pic. And I'm like, I did not. And she was so adamant about it that she then kind of showed the pic. And I was like, yeah, that's not me. And it was a really bad, I don't judge penis, but you know a bad one when you see one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Men out there listening, you got to be confident enough in yourself to be able to take a glance and know a good one from a bad one. This was a bad one. And I was like, that's not mine. And she was just like, you don't have to be weird about it. And I remember in a moment being like, am I about to have to whip my dick out right now? And then I thought, this is her move. No, this is her move. She goes around to people whose dicks she wants to see. She makes up this crazy story that she's already seen it and it's terrible. And then those dudes are like, well, I got to defend my honor. And we're pulling it out. And she's getting a mental screenshot. And that's how she gets her jollies. So if you were in the Twin Cities, I know you guys have a lot going on already, but be on the lookout. I think her name was Amelia. She goes to comedy shows by herself and she wants to see that dick. So just buyer beware.
She's already hit North Dakota, so that's why she had to move.
Yes. She probably started in the Pacific Northwest. She probably started up in Seattle, worked her way through the quieter states of Idaho and Montana, hit the Dakotas, and now she's coming through the Midwest. And we got to watch out for ourselves. Okay. This is part of men's mental health. We need to look out for one another, checking on each other, and just make sure we're keeping it zipped.
Right. These female predators are out to see your dick.
All over the place.
They're going to trick you into it.
So many female predators. I couldn't even say that without laughing. There's one, and she's in Minnesota.
Yeah,
right now.
She's looking for some cheap cocaine.
Cheap cocaine, and she wants.
Well, she probably heard because there's a stereotype with comedians, with the drugs and alcohol. So maybe she thought, hey.
Well, he opened with telling how many days he's been sober.
Yeah, she wasn't listening. I could tell.
It went right.
Yeah, right over her head. But yeah, that's my story with that. The people out there who send dick pics, don't do it unsolicited. Of course, I'm sure that's one of the big messages of this podcast. But if you get the request, then do it upright, proper lighting.
Yeah, get that good lighting.
Good lighting. You don't want it to be too dark in the room. You don't want shadows. Well, maybe a shadow could be fun to play with, but just put some art into it. Men are too lazy.
Exactly.
Men are too lazy sometimes. You got no woman is just being like, here's my tits all out and floppy. No, she's presenting them, arching the back a little bit. We got to do the same.
Arch the back.
What do you think an equivalent to a dick pic is for a woman?
What's the equivalent for a woman? Boobs. Because no woman,
boobs,
I don't think I've never heard of this. I know women have sent full body nude or they've sent boobs. No woman just sends vagina. That'd be wild.
Except Max, didn't that happen to you?
You got just a vagina pic?
I got a lot of crazy pics. It was
she has a crossing guard.
A horny crossing guard.
And she's wearing the crossing guard stuff. I have not seen these. Hopefully you deleted them.
It was in the beginning when, you start meeting some weird people. Yeah.
Now, was she
I'm
not one to judge with jobs, but I'm like, you're a crossing guard and she's like, no, just a crossing guard. I was like, ooh, maybe, I don't know.
So she's helping children cross streets. And then sending dudes pictures of her vagina at night.
I like to think those two don't really cross over, but
I hope not.
With what's,
I don't know.
Who knows, right?
The way.
Yeah, good Lord. Yeah, I've never heard of anyone just sending that though. Like, I just feel like if the woman, you should still kind of get a good read. Like, I think it's safer for dudes to ask, hey, do you want to see this?
Yes.
But let the woman initiate, because if a woman sends you a nude, it's pretty proper that she wants one back. But you still might want to feel it out.
I've never wanted one back, honestly.
Really?
I want attention. That's why I'd send them. But I'm not looking for him to send me them. I'm looking for him to compliment me on mine.
Well, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
You gotta shower with compliments. You gotta be like, oh my God, this is what did I do to deserve this? I'm so lucky right now.
Do I want one in return? No.
The mindset is like, ooh, this is a good conversation. You know what would make it better? A shot of my dick. And then
I can't tell you how many I got I was really only single for a short time before I met Max. So between my divorce and meeting him, it was not that long. And I got quite a few unsolicited. Didn't ask for it. One of the first guys I talked to, it was like an hour into us texting. We had gotten off the apps, started texting, an hour in, dick pic. I'm like, well.
Yeah, I don't get that one. I've never understood that. I was... I missed the whole dating apps craze. I remember I got married the same year Tinder came out, I believe, 2013. Because I remember people starting to talk about it and being like, "What is this?" Like it's just you swipe and you do that. It was bizarre to me. And then it really wasn't until iPhones and the cameras got so good. Because remember the first cell phone cameras? They were awful. You're not sending nudes in those.
What is that? I can't even make it out.
Yeah, why is it pixelated?
Me and my buddies in college say, thank God there weren't camera phones around then. Yeah. Because I was just like, can you imagine if I was like, holy shit.
I know.
Max got into it in college, yeah.
Yeah, that's why people always get shocked, or not people, but some people will always be like, oh, you're sending nudes out? I'm like, yeah, because that's the technology now. If that technology existed 100 years ago, they would have done that too. I mean, when the copy machine first came out, people were doing Xeroxes of their ass. They're sitting on it, right? Like
signing it.
Yeah, people are always going to find a way to send nude pictures or gross pictures or silly pictures of themselves in an X-rated way with whatever new technology comes along. That's just human nature.
It's a lot more not anonymous, a lot more private now because before camera phones, if you took pictures on I don't know, anything that you had to get developed, you're taking that to Walgreens and then you got to have that person hand it to you, be like, hi.
That's why you bought a Polaroid.
Yeah,
that's why the Polaroid was invented.
Yeah.
For nudes.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it like that. Yeah. Definitely. Probably.
But don't you think though, if the woman sends boobs, not in your case, but if she was to have a nude back, you got to show everything. You can't just show a shirtless picture of yourself when she sends boobs.
No.
Right?
Yeah. No one's asking for just a shirtless pic of a guy. I mean, I guess some people are. It depends on the dude. But I don't know that a lot of women are asking for photos in general. They're just like, okay. But I'm sure some are. And there are a lot of people who like dick pics. But like you said, unsolicited dick pics are the worst. Nobody wants those. And they never come when you're having a conversation about something that would relate to you. You're talking about puppies or where you went to school. Dick pic. It's what? Where did this come from?
That's what I've discovered actually. I've heard from enough friends where it's not just it's unsolicited like you were saying, but it's also out of nowhere. You're talking about something not sexual at all, and then bam, here it comes. And from what I gather, these are all my female comedian friends talking about this stuff, so it's just their perspective, which is a good one, I imagine, but it's not your average woman. Is that 85% of these dicks shouldn't be shown to anybody ever. From what I gather, it's not exactly the best looking penises being sent out via satellite to people's phones, So it's a there's a screw loose there. There's got to be something.
I have a hard enough time taking a selfie. When am I going to be able to take that?
I know that's what I do. Whenever I've had to take selfies for stuff, because as I do a little acting, so every now and then they'll be like, hey, they need you to take a couple selfies, try to get your shoulders in there, and so you're doing this whole thing, right? And I take 10 of those. So if I'm sending my guy out in the world, I'm definitely going to be fucking with some angles.
Right? You're going to have a whole like someone's scrolling through your camera roll. It's like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
Why so many?
Yeah, I know some people have had that. I've had friends, mostly women, because I think guys, once it's on their phone, they delete it. But I've had female friends be like, oh, look at this picture, and they hand me the phone, and then they go, don't swipe that way. Go to the right. And I'm like, okay, I don't even want to hold your phone now. You take it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, don't swipe. If someone's showing you a picture, stay on that picture. Yeah, so it's funny that you say guys delete it, because one of the ones I got is the guy who sent me one within like the first hour of us texting. I saved it because it's real funny. And so this is another reason not to send them. We save them. No. Actually.
That should be like a business. Like
it should be.
Accessories for your dong, you know?
Yeah.
Or a bow tie.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Like, you want to up your selfie, up your dick pics? We should do that and market it. Or it's no dick pics. Whatever, it works. But he sent me this picture and I saved it because it's hilarious and I want to show my friends. And I was scrolling through my albums looking for something. And you know how you can do it by like year on iPhones? So I'm like scrolling through and I have like a folder that says 2017. This is like 2023. And I'm like, 2017? I don't think I have anything on my phone from 2017. It saved it there because that's when he took it.
Wow.
This picture he took in 2017, he saved it. It was like, this is a real good one.
Yeah,
I'm clearly just keep reusing this one.
No, it's clearly what he did. It's 100%. He probably took the right one. That's almost like, so I remember getting into a big conversation since I started telling the story about the woman being like, oh, I met you on this app. My friends were telling me about apps and why they suck. And one of the big complaints is the picture of the person. I go, oh, they're catfishing. They use a filter. And they're like, no, it's not even the filter. The picture's a regular picture of them, but it's from 7-8 years ago. So then you meet them and you're like, oh, that's not, by the way, I'm one to talk. The headshot they use on most comedy posters for me is from like 8 or 9 years ago. So I'm catfishing audiences. I don't know if people are like, I don't know if you saw that when you guys saw me at Zane, you saw like the poster they had of me outside the club, but that's an old picture of me. But yeah, so I think that's what annoys a lot of people. They think they're meeting a 2026 version of someone, but they're getting a 2018 version, you know, or they're falling for the 2018 version. So
current pictures is very helpful.
What made the photo funny, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
He's just real proud of it. You could tell.
Oh, is his face in the picture too?
No, you could just tell by like how he has got lit and like, I don't know, he was just real proud of it. And it was just hilarious. Just the confidence is like, good for you. Good for you.
After he sent it, did he talk about it or did he just keep going with the conversation?
Well,
like it never happened?
And then he like wanted me to come hang out. And I'm like, you know, maybe not. I've been talking to you for like an hour. So
that's where's the surprise, fellas? You gotta,
right?
You know, save a little something.
And we've talked about this on the show before. This is the thing with guys jumping into like talking about sex or sending dick pics so soon into like a conversation when they meet someone on an app. It's a big turnoff for women because they're like, okay, that's all he cares about. If you get to know her and like ask her questions about her and like just show some interest in who she is as a human, there's a much higher chance she's going to hook up with you. If you go straight into talking about sex, she's like, this guy. But if you give her a chance just to talk and just to get to know her a little bit, I mean, Max knows.
Yeah.
Just wait like 20 minutes, then go into it.
Yeah.
Not 20 minutes. I don't think we talked about it on day one.
Is it true that dudes don't really ask questions on dates? That seems wild to me.
It depends on the guy.
Yeah. But that's
Max
like a common complaint, though.
Yeah.
It's got to be a high percentage.
Depends how much you talk, too. I mean, if you barely get to know the person, then I feel like the first date is almost like a Q&A. That you're trying to find out about them.
Yeah, I don't know that I had gone on a date with anyone who didn't ask about me. I think if I had, I would have been like, no, this is not going well for you.
Well, I mean,
one of our friends was on the show and he said that happened to him on a date. The woman talked about herself the whole time, didn't give him a chance to talk at all. And then they did it through a service and he wasn't interested in seeing her again because she didn't give him a chance to talk. She knew nothing about him. And she told the service, she's like, oh my God, I liked him so much. And he's like, ask her what she liked about me.
He listened. That's simple. Listen, people used to say key to getting a job on a job interview is to get the person who's interviewing you to talk about themselves. Because they'll walk away being like, that was a great interview. Yeah, of course you thought it was a great interview. You talked about you the whole time, you know? But yeah, that is interesting. I almost wonder if she never gets asked any questions, he let off with one and then she just ran with it.
Yeah. And just didn't ask him a single thing about himself.
You gotta do like 40-year-old virgin where you just take the question and turn it into a question.
Yeah, good call. Well, because I always thought that's what makes me so shocked by when I started hearing about this from a lot of my female friends, that dudes don't ask questions. Because growing up, even at like a young age, like 14, there was movies like Swingers and A 40-Year-Old Virgin and all these other movies that I'm sure there's 10 other ones I can't think of, where they literally said, you know, the key to getting a woman, get her talking about herself, ask her some questions.
You know,
right?
You know who didn't ask me questions? Softball guy. Didn't ask me any. That was one of the worst dates I've ever been on in my life. We had broken up for like 5 minutes, like when we first started dating, like a few months in.
She gave me shingles.
I didn't. That's not how shingles works. I went on a date with a guy who lives like not far from here, and he didn't ask me a single question. I'm thinking about that. It was a terrible date. It was awful. It was very awkward and stiff, and he did not ask me a single question the whole time. It was like pulling teeth to get him to talk at all. I'm like, okay, this is great. We got drinks, got one drink, asked for the bill. I'm like, this is amazing. He pulls out his phone. I'm like, okay, this is going real well.
Wow.
And then at the end of the date, he's like, okay, I can't wait to do this again. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, did you have a good time? Because I didn't.
Well, I used to have an icebreaker, so when I was in sales, we would always do this, like if you're stuck on an island.
Yeah, I had a friend, she would do games of fuck, marry, kill with people. Yeah. But like not always celebrities. Sometimes she would go like, all right, fuck, marry, kill, bagels, English muffins, or like croissants or whatever. I can't remember what the third one was, but like that was like the whole thing. And so then you'd have to show your work. Why would you do this? Why would you do that? Or it'd be like fuck, marry, kill, you know, TV characters, or like pizza, tacos, burger, like just like kind of like silly off the wall stuff. And I think that's a great icebreaker too, because then I think the kids, I've got such minimal experience with dating, but I think a good thing is to just get you having a conversation, not an interview. I think that's a problem that people have now, is they look at first dates like interviews. So they kind of sit down, they're at their dinner, they're across from each other, and it is like a job interview instead of just letting the conversation flow, because they want to know as much as possible. And I think online dating has trained people into like, because think about it, you see the picture, then it's their stats. It's like baseball cards, right? It's like, okay, this person doesn't have kids, is 37, works in finance, 5'11", like, you know, it's like literally all that stuff. And then you go off of that, and then you're trying to see if you could be, I think, go into it, be loose, have some fun. And if you guys have a good flow with your conversation, that's worth a second date. And
I agree.
Also, first dates, if you're going into a first date thinking, is this going to be my person, my long, I think you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're going to give off a desperation vibe without realizing it. And that person's going to think, damn, they're coming on way too strong. And this is either gender. That wasn't gender specific, because both genders do that. That go on a first date thinking nothing more than, is there a chance for a second date? Because I heard someone say this recently on some podcast, and I came across my Instagram reels, and it made sense. It's like, hey, that first date you went on might not have been the ideal match for you, but you know what? Maybe they're going to be a good friend for you. And then maybe they're going to introduce you to someone who's going to be that match for you. Like, too many people now, they go in and then, like, you know, 10 minutes into the first date, they go, nope, don't like it. And then they shut everything down immediately. And you're doing yourself a disservice and that person a disservice. You know, maybe they had a bad week. Maybe they're a little lonely. Right. So fellas, give her a shot, and women, give them a shot. And same with, you know, whatever else, gays, lesbians, or whatever else the matchups are. I'm trying to cover everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always tried to get them on the phone just to see how, like, if I had to carry the conversation, or if because you could find out, you know, texting is great, but you put them on the phone for about 10 or 15 minutes and you could find out a lot more about them.
10 or 15 minutes. Tell them what happened with me. You got me on the phone right away. What happened?
7 hours later.
Wow.
7 hours.
And I was like, hey, I always wanted to do a podcast. It was kind of like more of a pickup line.
It was his line. And I went, okay. And look where we are now.
I got to tell you, man, that might be a generational thing now. We're not that far apart in age or anything like that, but I remember talking on the phone with girls in high school, and sometimes you'd be on the phone for like an hour, 2 hours, and that was a lot in high school. But nowadays, depending your range, I think if you're, I'm 41, so let's say 41 and younger, you want to see how the text messages flow. I understand wanting to talk on the phone, but
texter.
He's a bad texter?
Terrible texter. Okay, he was good in the beginning, and this is what he tricked me, because I'm 43, and so I'm kind of in that same thing where like I'm a big texter. He texts more because I dated a couple guys a little bit older than him, well, a lot older, and they're not big, good texters either. That's a big problem. And in the beginning, he was great. He was really like send me like long, thorough, full sentences. As our relationship went on, they got shorter and shorter. I'm like, does he hate me? Why is it so short? It's just how he texts. He's just a terrible texter.
I'm a good texter. At least I believe I am. I've been told I'm a good texter, so I'm not bragging, but I can't do the phone anymore. It's not like I'm bad on the phone. I could be good on it. I just don't want to talk because it's such an interrupt. You could do, texting is one of those things where I could be doing other things and keep up with a text conversation. But to be on the phone, I have to hold it up to my face. And then if someone else messages me, I can't read that message without taking it away. And I know you're thinking, oh, well, your focus should be on the person who's talking to you. Yeah, I agree with that, but we're all very I got kids. If someone, I could be totally enthralled with you.
Attention span.
Yeah, that too. But like, I could be totally into what you're saying. I'm loving every second of this. Is awesome. And then someone else texts me going, hey, you free tomorrow? Someone dropped out of this show. I could pay you X amount. Please tell me you're available. Yes. I send a yes, and I'm still focused on you, but I did a little side thing. That's why I don't like the phone. I've got nothing against people who do. I have some friends who will call me, and when they call, I go, fucking shit. Just text me. You know what I mean? But I associate, I think, if you're in a certain age range, you associate phone calls with bad news because everyone texts now. So when I get a phone call, I think something bad has happened.
Yeah.
I'd say 80% of the phone calls I've received over the last 7 years, bad news. 80.
Yeah. So before we lived together, because we live together now, we would talk on the phone once in a while. We didn't talk on the phone that often, but I wanted to talk on the phone more because he's a terrible texter. So like, I can get a lot more out of him if we're talking, but otherwise I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to ever answer my phone. At work, I have my phone on mute. I don't answer my phone at work because I'm like, no one needs, just email me.
Yeah.
Leave me a voice message because I want to know what you need before I talk to you on the phone.
Absolutely. I've had, that's the worst when someone calls and you're like, fine, I'll answer. And you're like, hello. And then immediately they start asking for something, or you're just like, why'd I answer? This is so stupid.
Right.
Or it's this long-winded thing where you're like, that could have been a one-line text, but I had to listen to your 6-minute diatribe about some bullshit. Like, it's just, and the funny thing is when text messaging first started, because when I graduated high school, that's when people started to get cell phones. I remember I was kind of one of my last friends to get a cell phone. I got it summer going into college. It was like 2004. I hated text messaging. I thought, I'm like, just call the person. What is with this text messaging? Then a year and a half, 2 years later, I totally was the opposite. I love text messaging. T9, where when you line it up and do all that swiping thing or whatever. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a better form of communication for me.
I agree. Like when you're busy.
Well, it's easier. Yeah.
It's easier. Yeah.
You can just text.
But also during the day, I'm busy at work, so I'm not going to be texting all day.
But I do think when you're meeting someone and it's a dating situation, I think it is a good way to get a instant vibe, especially if you'll do a FaceTime with someone. Get like a vibe on if is this someone I want to go on a date with? Do we have enough of a vibe for it to be worth it, or do I not even want to meet this person in real life?
I had a couple FaceTimes. I'm like, is that the same person? I'm looking at the picture.
See, FaceTime, that's a different story. I think FaceTime is good. And like you're saying, early dating, maybe you matched on an app and then you exchange numbers, and FaceTime is like, oh, you're a real person. I'm a real person. Let's, and yeah, I think, again, I made that whole point about don't write people off too soon. But in the same regard, I do think both parties should be trying to make a good first impression. I mean, most of our lives, regardless of what we do, we're told first impression is important. So at the very least, if you're going to be FaceTiming with someone, you expect them to look presentable, Like, you don't want a background where it's like, Jesus Christ, there's dirty clothes in the background. There's bowls of soup. There's, this guy's a pig. You don't want that. So that's one of the things where I think you guys won me over on the FaceTime part. I'm still an avid texter, but FaceTime early going.
Yeah.
Good move.
It's not a permanent thing. This is like getting to know someone.
Yeah, definitely.
After that, no, text me. Although you do still call me more than anyone else. Like, he called me when he got sick at the gym, and I'm like, you're 10 minutes away. Just told me when you got home.
You get a little diarrhea at the gym?
Get sick. Well, I was actually tweaking on Zepbound, so they gave me the wrong prescription. So I took 3 times the amount that I was supposed to take. So I got really viciously sick on Christmas Eve, and then I was like, no, I couldn't eat for like 3 days.
Well, then you didn't go to the gym.
You lost weight. That. Yeah.
It's like Seinfeld, right? Remember, he's like, I haven't thrown up in like 8 years. That's how I was. I couldn't even remember the last time.
He was so excited about it. He called me. I'm like, why is he calling me?
I feel so much better. I want a Diet Coke. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take up your whole night. And look at me on the timing.
I wanted to ask one question. You said you went out to LA. Have you been on any TV shows or?
Yeah. Coincidentally enough, I did an episode of Chicago Med.
Cool.
I still get residual checks from that, which is pretty sweet. And I was on Chicago PD off of the Chicago Med episode, but different characters. So I did Chicago Med in 2018. And then this past year, when was this? Back in like September or October? I think it was October. So October of 2025. I get a phone call from one of the producers of Chicago PD. And that I actually answered. For whatever reason, I answered. I normally don't answer phone calls when I don't have the number saved. But for whatever reason, I'm like, it's a Chicago zip code. Fuck, I'm going to answer. And it was like, hi, I'm Sharon. I'm one of the producers on Chicago PD. You did an episode of Chicago Med in 2018, correct? I'm like, yeah, that was me. They're like, okay, so we have a scene in which a bomb's going to go off and there's going to be all these dead bodies strewn about. And there's the dummy. They made a dummy of me for Chicago Med. So what they do for medical procedural shows, a little inside information for your listeners, is they'll often make a dummy of the person. That way, when there's a whole day where that person's just laying in a bed and they're doing a surgery on them, an operation, it's not the person, it's a dummy. And so I had to go into his place. It was very awkward. I went into this like art studio in Chicago, essentially, and they dump all this clay over you and they poke breathing holes in, but I still freaked out. They had to peel it off because I did freak out.
So it's actually a dummy of you. It's not just like something that looks like you. It's actually like molded from you.
It freaked me out. And I remember asking them, I'm like, can I keep this? And they're like, no, we don't want people to keep it. I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do with it though? Now I know what they're going to do with it.
No.
7 years later, they're going to have it be a dead body on the ground. So I got a nice check for that, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, all of a sudden they called me up and said, we're going to use this. All I had to do was send them a selfie of me to make sure I didn't age too much from then till now. And then they wrote me a check. And then I had some friends hit me up being like, hey, dude, I was watching Chicago PD. Were you on that? Was that you? Because they used my picture on the bulletin board of the victims. So they had the fake body of me that my friends thought was me. They're like, I thought that was you laying on the ground. Were you in an explosion? And then when they saw that scene, they're like, there you are. So yeah, I did those shows. I did a few commercials. Was in a Cubs commercial, Blackhawks commercial, Potbelly's commercial.
Nice.
Jack Daniels ad. And then I did background work a lot. And I was standing on a TBS show called Sullivan and Son. That's how I got my SAG card. Yeah, I was in an episode of that too. When my line got cut.
We were talking about that because she mentioned that you're friends with Steve Byrne. So, and I was like, that show, because I always remember it was the dad from Wonder Years.
Great guy, awesome dude.
Yeah,
that he was one of my favorite people I met in LA. Was Dan Loria. Such a nice guy.
And one of Bill Murray's, right? One of the Murray brothers.
Yeah, Brian Doyle Murray. Brian was a great guy too. Huge Cubs fan. So we just talked about the Cubs and Chicago sports, and he was a really nice guy. Actually, when I worked on that show I just worked on the last season actually. And when I was working there, I remember Father's Day was coming up and I was like, what can I get my dad for Father's Day? And Caddyshack's my dad's favorite movie. So Brian Doyle Murray co-wrote that movie. He's one of the writers. 3 people wrote it. I think it was him, Harold Ramis, and Brian Kenny. And Doug Kenny, I'm sorry. And so I got him to sign a copy of it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I got Brian Doyle Murray to sign a copy of Caddyshack. He was really nice.
That's a good gift.
And then I opened for Steve Byrne and I opened for Roy Wood Jr. a bunch on the road. And
Roy Jr.
Roy Wood Jr. is great. Another Cubs fan. That whole set had a lot of Cubs fans on it actually. And Vince Vaughn and Peter Billingsley were the executive producers. Peter Billingsley was Ralphie on a Christmas Story. So it was fun. It was a great experience working with all of them And then after that, I got a job on Tosh.0. So I worked on that set as a production assistant. Then I got a job as a segment producer on Ridiculousness. I was going to say the MVP show, but the MTV show, which is kind of like a Tosh.0 ripoff, which is why they kind of hired a lot of people from Tosh.0 to go work on Ridiculousness. And then my son was born out there, and then we came back home, and I only lived out there from 2014 to 2017, so 3 years.
Yeah,
I love the weather. Miss the weather. Miss the burritos.
I'm sure.
Miss some of the people,
especially now.
But yeah,
it's awful here now.
Every year it gets worse and worse.
It does. This has been a bad winter.
I mean, last winter was pretty easy. The last 2 winters were fairly easy, but it's the darkness. It's dark for so long, and it just.
But it got cold this year.
This year was the coldest winter in a while. Because I had a friend, she moved from California to Chicago August of 24. So she's been here a year and a half. But that winter of 24 going into 25 was easy. I told her, because she moved here in August, and she's like, this is the greatest city in the world. I love it so much. And she'd only visited Chicago like once for 2 days before deciding to move here. And I was like, look, I love this city. It's my city, but wait until you hit winter. Pump the brakes a little bit. I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself, but pump the brakes. And then winter was easy. She's like, oh, it was easy. And then this winter, I remember her hitting me up being like, this is hard. I got it. She bought one of those like sunshine lamps for her apartment, so she wouldn't get seasonal depression and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, this was a rough one.
You need that vitamin D. It's rough.
We have the countdown clock until we're going to Arizona, so I can't wait.
Speaking of Arizona, I saw that you have some dates coming up, and we're gonna actually be out there at the same time.
Come to the show. I'll do some different material if you got nothing going on.
Yeah, well, let's talk to the people.
Yeah, I think we're staying in Scottsdale, so
yeah, it's not too far.
Let's find out if we have anything on those dates, and we can get the tickets for them because they always get us tickets.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, please do. It's a really cool club. I've done a few times. I've been in the main room, and they also have this like comedy patio, they call it. It's like outdoor seating. Nice. Fits like 75 people, but it's outside, so it's kind of cool. It's Arizona, so it's beautiful. Yeah, I've been going down there this is my 4th year now doing that club. I'll go to a couple spring training games during the day because I usually have some friends out there for spring training, and then I do the shows at night.
That's what we're doing.
Perfect. Yeah. Chandler, Arizona. It's right next to Mesa, and I know Scottsdale's real close. So yeah, we'll be in touch for sure.
Awesome. Well, do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Well, yeah, I mean, JoeKilgallon.com, but I got to update that. I only have the Arizona dates on there right now. But basically, just go to my YouTube channel. Just youtube.com/Joe Kilgallon. That's K-I-L, gallon, like gallon of milk. And I've got hours and hours of stand-up comedy on there, hours and hours of podcasts on there. My podcast is mostly comedy, but I will get into current events and getting a little political more these last few months than I ever had before. Well, I mean, I've always been political, but the podcast was always my escape from all this kind of shit. But it's you can't keep your head in the sand too long with what's going on in the world. So, yeah, that's basically it. I just, I'll have episodes that are really silly. They're only like 25, 30-minute episodes. So give it a whirl if you so desire. I don't know.
Yeah. I listened to like 3 today. I'm like, whoa, that's an easy listen. Cause they're not as long as our shows are long. So it's kind of like more daunting, but I love that format of it. Like a little bit of a shorter, like it's an easy listen.
Oh, thank you. Well, you have guests though. When I used to have guests, the episodes were long. Because I started off having guests, and then my schedule was so up and down, I couldn't figure out consistent dates. And I just decided, you know what, maybe I'll just try it by myself. It was the pandemic. During the pandemic, I started doing some episodes by myself, and I got some decent feedback, or good feedback, really. A lot of people were like, I kind of like it when it's just you, being ridiculous. And, not to say they didn't like the guests, or maybe they didn't like the guests. I don't know. Maybe they're being nice to me. But you could do shorter when it's just you talking to yourself, is my point.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting because there's been times where he can't record, and I'm like, oh, I'm just not going to do it. I could probably do one by myself. I just never thought to, but it's probably easier for you since you're a stand-up, and that's all just talking on your own anyway, right? Like do you do a lot of crowd work? Because I don't think you really did too much at our show.
Not too much. I have that. To me, it was a weapon. It was a tool, essentially, to have it where some crowds, like especially if you're going last and the show wasn't very good up until that point, you use crowd work to kind of reset the room, break them in a little bit. And it was what it was meant for. But then with the rise of TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, everyone has to be content machines nowadays to stand out, to gain your own fan base, which is nice because you as artists, you have more control now. You have your hand on the wheel. where before you had to just wait and hope to be discovered, which there's so many some of my favorite comedians of all time, nobody would know of. It's not because they're bad. It's because they just, you need a little bit of luck. You really do. And the most successful people in the entertainment industry will admit that. And the ones who don't probably have rich parents. So yeah, it was one of those things where, what was my point again? Yeah, with content. So with crowd work, people, sorry about that. Comedians started putting crowd work out because it's content, but it's not wasting their material. That way, when people come to the show, they're still getting a fresh act.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, that happened when we went to a show. We saw Jared Freed in, where were we, Batavia?
Yeah.
He did a small show in Batavia because he was just working on new stuff. And I listened to his podcast. He has the You Up podcast on Betches. And so I've always been a big fan of that. He's a big Bachelor fan too. So he has a podcast where he talks about Bachelor stuff too. That's how I discovered him. And he talks about dating a lot. So I'm like, oh, that's perfect for us. And we went to his show and he had some hecklers. And he took that whole segment and made it real because it was so funny.
It was Naperville Moms.
Yeah, he's like, you look like you came out of a pottery barn.
I know that club. I worked that club a lot. Comedy Vault in Batavia. It's a great club. I've met Jared once because he's really good friends with Lisa Traeger, who I'm really good friends with. Oh, yeah, I work with her sometimes, and I know they're buddies.
I've noticed the heckling. Like, is it me or is it maybe it's social media? But like, I don't remember so many. I know people try to stand out, but I feel like the heckling is getting like it's a lot now. Like it used to be.
It's more than before, but it's not like it's not like an epidemic of heckling. It's social media. So the heckling clips do well because people stop to go, oh, what did this fucking idiot say? And how badly did the comedian put them in their place? And so they watch it more. And then because of that, more of those get pushed up. Like, comedian destroys heckler. All those videos just went viral. But I tell people all the time, I go, most of the shows I do, the vast majority of them, crowd just sits there and wants to laugh and they're not yelling stupid shit out. The only reason crowds get a little sensitive now, it's not even sensitive like they're offended. It's more sensitive where they hear the buzzwords and they go, ooh, this is one of those things where someone might get mad. So they stop to look around to see if anyone else is looking around. And then everyone's looking around. And it's like, you just took yourself out of a good joke because you heard a word. That's the thing too, that cracks me up. People be like, oh, that joke was kind of racist. It's like, no, it wasn't at all. Actually, you heard the word race and your brain went to that place because that's how we've been trained lately, because we consume too many things. But if you actually heard them, they were actually making a great commentary that you probably would have liked if you didn't turn your brain off as soon as you heard one of those scary words that HR doesn't like,
Yeah. I don't know. It was a lot of fun to see you, and we'll see. Hopefully we can see you again in Arizona.
Yeah, hopefully it'd be
great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, thank you for coming on.
Cool. We'll go out for a THC drink afterwards if I see you in Arizona.
Yeah, definitely. He wants to try them.
They're awesome.
Yeah, I saw them at the liquor store. I was like,
they're fun. You do get a little high off of them, but it's like a very chill. It's almost euphoric because it's mixed with CBD. Most of them are like, if it's 5 milligrams THC, it'll be 5 milligrams CBC, and those just make you very calm. So I kind of like it. Like I feel like I'm having a good time, but there's no moment where I'm like, am I going to fight that guy? You know what I mean? There's nothing like that, which alcohol does.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Of course. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye. It was great.
Yeah.
All right. You want to keep this end part short, or you want to talk? You want to chat?
Oh, I think we can wrap it up.
Wrap it up because we've got things to do.
I haven't watched TV in like 2 days.
You're not about to now either.
Yes, I am.
We'll see. Yeah. So, like Joe said, you can find him at joekilgallon.com. I think all of his social media is also just Joe Kilgallon. Just search for him. That's what I did. I found him pretty quickly, but he's a very funny guy. He's got a lot of content out there. So if you want to watch his podcast on YouTube or whatever it is, he's got tons of episodes, and it's super entertaining. Like, I flew through them. You busy?
No, just checking.
Checking what?
The scores, and it's trade deadline, so there's a couple trades going down.
Lord. Okay. This is officially the podcast before the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Would you like to say anything quickly about the Super Bowl?
I hope it's a good one. I think a lot of people are starting to take New England, but I think Seattle is just a better team. But if New England wins, great. But it's kind of not fair because we've talked about this. We haven't with other friends. It's not fair what New England does. So they were a dynasty with Tom Brady for almost fucking 20 years. They had 4 crappy seasons and now they're fucking back again. It's like, no, you need like 6, 7, 8 years of losing. Like, it's not fair. And the Boston fans just haven't made. It's like we had a couple down years and now we're boom back in the Super Bowl. Boom, got a quarterback. Like, it's like fuck. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a good game. I'm like, New England's good. I mean, they got here. Yeah, they don't. It's not pretty, but I just think Seattle's an overall better team. I think just they're ready to go, but you never know. I mean, it's because Seattle's been hot, and then you do a 2 week break, so it kind of like resets everything. So, and
Yeah.
the key to the Super Bowl that people don't talk about is the halftime is a lot longer than normal halftimes
Well, yeah, because they have
because
to
of the
build the whole stage and all
it
that.
changes it because they're creatures of habit. They're used to that like 10-15 minute halftime. Boom, go out.
Doesn't it help them though? Wouldn't you think a break would
But you
help
sit
them, or does it
around more, and
kill
so
momentum?
they're creatures of habit. They like the same thing. So I think Seattle should win, but it's not. I wouldn't be surprised if New England won. I don't really like. I don't have like. I'm not for one or the other.
Are you
I
betting?
just want to. Yeah, I'll dabble. I mean, there's a couple prop bets I like, but yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. I mean, so
Go
either
sports.
one, it's fine. But if New England wins, it's gonna be crazy because it's like Drake May in his like second year, but it's a revenge game. It's the famous Marshawn Lynch. So Seattle was about to win the Super Bowl over the Tom Brady and the Patriots. They had the ball on the 2 yard line, and everyone's like, just give it to beast mode to Lynch, and they didn't. For some reason, they decided to throw it, and it got picked off. And so yeah, so we will see. I'm excited to see Bad Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, I'm not a fan of his, but I think it's cool that it's someone different. And then with all the backlash and outroar, I just think it's hilarious that people are losing their
I mean,
minds over.
obviously, he's a
Yeah,
star. He's a big deal. He's like one of the most listened to artists in the world, and he just won a bunch of Grammys.
yeah.
So I
So,
mean, like, there's
and he's in
talent there.
Happy
It's not
Gilmore
like he's some
too.
rando.
I didn't know who he was until he
I
wrestled. He wrestled a
still
couple
haven't
years
seen
ago.
that.
So
Still haven't seen it because someone watched it without me.
no, it was before you.
It wasn't. Happy Gilmore 2 was not before me.
No. Oh, I thought you were talking about the wrestling.
No.
So yeah, he showed up. He wrestled a couple years ago, and WWE is really good with especially SummerSlam. They do Jelly Roll. They'll take someone who's famous for singing or something, and they do the cross promotion to get other people in there.
I did not mention that Joe is also a wrestling fan and knows a wrestler, and I know this because I listened to his podcast today.
I didn't get into the wrestling because it would have gone off the rails.
I know, that's why I was like, we're gonna avoid this topic, because I was about to say, I'm like, nope, we're not gonna talk about
Who's
it.
he a fan of, or who's his friend?
I don't have to listen to it again.
Oh,
But I don't know. I was like, we're gonna avoid this because it's gonna go off the rails, and that's all it's gonna be. And this is not a wrestling podcast, so
I know. That's why I stayed.
you did good. I was so worried because yesterday's episode is going to be a pain in the ass to edit because it is just like all over the place. There's so much I have to cut from that episode. This one is a lot cleaner. This one's going to be much easier to do. So I'm glad this is the one that's coming out first. But we will have an episode of The Bridget coming out next week, and that one's going to be heavily edited. Heavily
you have
edited.
2 weeks to edit it.
I do. I have less than 2 weeks to edit it, but yeah, it'll be.
And plus, Green Day's opening the Super Bowl, so I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm. I love Green Day.
I think they're going to do like Time of Our Life or something. So,
I don't know.
60th Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Okay, let's wrap it up. You can find us on Instagram at No Dick Pics Pod. You can find us everywhere else at No Dick Pics Pod. Send us your stories or questions at nodickpicspod@gmail.com, or you can DM us on any of our social media sites. Please be sure to rate and review us. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. And yeah, that's all I got. You got
Smash
anything?
that like button.
Smash that like button. We don't get a lot of interaction on YouTube. We get a lot of views. We don't get a lot of interaction. So leave us a comment, but be nice, because my feelings get hurt very easily in the comment section. We'll be back next week. Bye.